She said, boy, say that thing for me, and I dedicate this to you, to the greatness that's within you, because it's there. It's there. If all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, and if you gladly sweat for it and fret for it and plan for it, and lose all your terror of the opposition for it, and if you simply go after that thing that you want with all of your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity, if neither cold poverty, famine, should go, sickness or pain of body and brain can keep you away from the thing that you want, if dogged and grim you besiege and beset it, with the help of God you'll get it. You have greatness in you. You have greatness. You gotta be hungry. You gotta be hungry. People that want to step into their greatness are hungry. You gotta be hungry. You gotta be hungry. To give up your time, your peace, and sleep for it. If all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, and if you gladly sweat for it and fret for it and plan for it, and lose all your terror of the opposition for it, and if you simply go after that thing that you want with all of your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity, if neither cold poverty, famine, should go, sickness or pain of body and brain can keep you away from the thing that you want, if dogged and grim you besiege and beset it, with the help of God you'll get it. You'll get it. You gotta be hungry. You gotta be hungry. You gotta be hungry. Somebody said, I'm hungry. Talk. I'm hungry. About being hungry. Talk. Somebody said, I'm hungry. I'm hungry. It is something I like to share some ideas and thoughts with you. I'm not asking that you believe anything that I say. I'm not asking that you agree with me. I'm merely asking that you stand on and in the conversation that we'll share with you this evening, if there's something that I say that can fit and work for you, I say use it. If not, discard it and let it be. That all right? I'm hungry. Very good. All right. I'm hungry. One of the things I have realized, and many of us have, that if you want something out of life, I'm hungry. If you want to change yourself, I'm hungry. If you want to acquire something, I'm hungry. If there's some goal that you want to reach, I'm hungry. That is really not easy as some people will make us feel. That living your dream, changing your behaviors, overcoming negative habits, it's challenging. It's hard. Living alone is just very difficult. It's hard. Once we begin to come to grips with the fact that living is difficult, it's hard. Life is very challenging. I heard a song once by a guy named Dipples called "If It Ain't One Thing, It's Another." If it ain't one thing, it's another. I say to you, if it ain't one thing, it's 12 others. Always something. You will never ever have a problem-free moment in life. Never ever. Somebody said, and I like this, that you either in a problem or just left one or headed toward one. If it ain't one thing, it's another. Anybody found that to be so? There's always something. If it ain't one thing, it's another. Hungry. How many of you know people, all they do is border and grow? Right? Born and grown. I'm not making enough money. Born and grown. I'm unhappy with my job. 87% of people go to jobs that they hate. They hate. People, all they do is born and grow. Born and grow. And in addition to that, you know, as we know that we have the dubious distinction in this country that on Monday morning the heart attack rate increases over 35%. On Monday morning between 6 o'clock and 9. People going to jobs that they hate. The heart said, didn't I tell you I didn't want to go? And attack them. Some of you don't want to go to work next Monday. People, all they do is born and grow.
Yes, greetings to ones and ones. First, I want to give thanks and praise to the Most High. Give thanks for life. Give thanks to Bless Radio every single time. Give thanks to all the fellow presenters and DJs on Bless Radio. So I want to give thanks. Okay, so you're lucky to the big one. BlessRadio.org. And we start the show by playing the great man Les Brown. One of the top motivational speakers out there. See? Okay then, so we do have a serious show. We have the great man Wadada is in the house, and he'll be sharing his journey playing some sax, and also be touching the whole thing about mental health and well-being. I know he takes them thing there seriously, the whole thing about health. So you're lucky to the big one, SLR Radio. And we will be joined by Tamara a little bit later on, and we will have a little jamming session as well. See? Okay then, you know, Tamara is one of the top spoken words out there, and we do have what that is a top saxophonist out there. See? Okay, so you're lucky to the big one every single time. Also, big show goes out to Sister Ann. Big up yourself every time.
To nurture that hunger, what are the characteristics or the qualities of people that are hungry? What will it take for me to get some of the things that I want? What will it take? And being hungry for those things. What will it take? Number one, you've got to work on yourself. It's very important that you engage in an ongoing process to develop you. Spend more time on yourself than what you've been spending. Work on yourself. It's very important. You owe that to yourself. Work on yourself. I was reading a book by Og Mandino called The University of Success. Read one line, gave me a chill. I didn't have to read anything else in the book. Gave me a chill. He said, many of us never realize our greatness because we become sidetracked by secondary activity. We spread ourselves too thin, don't know how to say no. And we find ourselves doing all kinds of things and never ever have time to do those things that we need to do to work on ourselves. Say no. And then there goes a second, there goes another second, there goes another second, and we can't stop and hold tight. And before you know it, you wake up one day and you're behind in your dreams and your bills. Say no. So decide that you're going to take some time to work on you, that you deserve that from yourself, that your life deserves some prime time because you are creating your own production. Work on yourself. Work on yourself. As Michael Todd would say, you are the star of your show. You are the director. You're writing the script. And you will determine whether your life is a smash office hit or flop. You determine that. Work on yourself. Working on yourself. Talking to yourself. Work on yourself. That's so very important. Overcoming the negative conversation that...
Yes. Again, as I said, Les Brown. I just say we need to work on ourselves and overcome the negative chatterbox constantly telling us that you can't do this. Who do you think you are? See? And once you overcome that chatterbox, you can achieve anything you want to do. And Wadada is a great example of that because, as I said, he's a great saxophonist. In fact, this man practices at least 9-10 hours a day, just studying, practicing, perfecting his craft. You know. So again, it's good to have him inside the house. So he'll be reading us very shortly and playing some of his sax as well. And we are expecting a call from my sister. We'll be talking about an event what took place Sunday. It was a mind, body, and spirit. We wasn't able to I wasn't able to attend myself because I was at another event with Auntie Jean, a fundraising event. What went down very well, I must admit. Went down very good. The film was very good as well. Yeah, enough things took place there. There was a snake. This woman had a big snake, you know, and talk about. Well, she didn't touch too much about the snake. So if you want to know more about snake, but she said a snake. Everybody's got a snake inside of us, you know. So I like to find out more when I do speak to get a number, and I say a bit more about this snake thing here, you know. We had a guy with pure tricks, musician. You know, him fool me up so much. I didn't know. He have something in his hand, close it, when open it, nothing in there. He take out some cards. I wonder how them man do all them kind of trick there. And he says to look, what's here? I think it was ace of blah, blah, blah. Four on the cards again. Different number of cards come up. I done about 4 or 5 times. Going, can you see what I'm doing? Am I tricking you? I mean, don't know what, man. They might fool me up, man. You know? But he's, yeah, boy. And some money, him just put in him hand and him just fold it up and screw it up. And next thing you know, say, everything disappear. I wonder when them man they do all them something there. See? But it was all fun. You know?
What do you come with?
Yeah.
What is it? That you have within you that you showed up to bring. Let us say together, it's possible, it's possible, 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 possible. Say it like you mean it. It's possible. Thank you, write that down. It's possible, 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 possible. You see, most people never achieve their goals because most people suffer from possibility blindness. They look around trying to think about the things that they don't have. Robert Roots, young man who wrote a book about success principles of the 3 little pigs. He said, it's not what you don't have, it's what you think you need.
So I said without the great man, Wadada, inside the house, one of my key brethren, I've known him from a long time, you know, and what I don't remember this, you know. One time I come to, he had a business down in a barbershop, no, not a barbershop, it was a barbershop, a hairdressing shop, or some kind of big thing he might have done at Leighton. Right, I went down there to get my hair, I think my hair plait them time. That's the first time I get my hair plait. And yeah, it was many years ago. Them time he was busy like a busy bee, you know, with the business and etc. I didn't see him for many years. And then when we do catch up, I know he was doing some stuff on the sax. In fact, he's playing sax for a long time. I remember, I think it was at African Liberation Day or one of them events, I see you playing the sax. And then next time when he was talking, he said, boy, I'm on the sax serious now. And when we started having our events, he come, you know, blessed the floor with the sax. And then, you know, when the man said, boy, I got to take this thing as serious. You know, and I see him a couple of events, playing sax with different kind of groups and thing. And the rest is just history because he's going from strength to strength. And then man is just well requests, you know, all over the place, probably all over the country, Europe and all over, you know. So this is a man who they're on a serious mission, and he was at the event last week and everybody loved him when he played the sax at the Reparation, see, down Brixton. So, as I said inside the host, we do have the great man, Wadada. Great man. Wadada, how you feeling, man?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Yeah,
Nice.
give thanks for the encouragement, the big up and them things there. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Give
sir.
thanks.
Yeah, man. So, Wadada, how do you get involved in the whole thing about sex?
I was very much into playing different instruments, guitar, piano, and doing a little bit of singing and all them kind of thing there. But one time I just see my brother with a saxophone, and it just looked nice and just shiny and that, you know what I mean?
Was he your brother, yeah?
Yeah, brother named Patrick, you know.
Okay, then.
Yeah, and when I saw this instrument, it just looked nice, shiny, and all them kind of things there. And I just thought to myself, why? If you get one of them things, you know what I mean? But I didn't really see him play it that much, you know what I mean? And but I was just, because I had my business back then, so I was just very much involved in that. And then all of a sudden, I started to listen to like people like Grover Washington, and I do remember that what's the man Charlie Parker.
Oh, Charlie Parker and
Charlie
the man.
Parker, and then they had that film, what the More
Bear Blues, yeah.
Yeah, and I just used to listen to a lot of them, kind of watch them films there and all that, and I just started to kind of get into it. But even though I wasn't really that serious in it, because at the beginning sometimes you've got to kind of really kind of get into it properly, and you'd be playing it and you always looking at your hands and to see if you're hitting the right note and that. So it's very much like it's kind of tedious then, because you don't really know where you are. But as you say, the more you do it, things just get kind of stronger and that. But I would say that it's been about, say, a good 11 years, 10 hours a day that I've been studying constantly. Yeah, non-stop. Yeah.
And who kind of influenced you? You don't think about sex. I remember you mentioned people like, was it Charlie Parker that man influenced you, or was it?
Yeah, Charlie Parker, Sonny Stitz, Grover Washington, Cannibal Adley, and there's a guy named Walter Beasley. Benny Parker. There's enough of them, man.
Enough of them out there influence you.
What do they call it? What's the guy that Ronnie? What's the guy Ronnie something? Sonny Rollins.
Okay.
Yeah, I normally kind of listening to him, on the YouTube, because sometimes he sits down and he kind of talk about things that he used to go through, and how his journey playing the sax, and things that can sort of like happen to you when you start off, and now it's something that can really kind of embarrass you in the beginning, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? But if that doesn't really kind of knock you, make you put the instrument down, then just know that you're onto something great.
On something great.
Yeah.
Okay, then. So as I said inside the house, we do have the great man, Wadada, who, as he said, he this man that practice, don't mess about. I'm doing it consistently for about 10, 11 years. Practice at least 10 hours a day, studying, practicing, perfecting his craft. Like I said, this is a man I see perform. In fact, I've had the pleasure of introducing him a few times as well. And when the crowd see him, men and women start to cry, because he has a way of really bringing in a lot of emotions, and it's just amazing when you see this brother in action. So what I'm gonna play some more of this man here, Les Brown, right? Because Les Brown talk about how you overcome certain challenges what you've been through in a musical way. So listen to Les Brown.
I believe we live in the greatest country in the world that gives us an opportunity to leave our mark, to make a statement with our lives. And as you think about these goals, whatever those goals are, I want you to dramatically increase those goals. And I want to warn you. I want to warn you. I don't want you to think about how you're going to do it. How is none of your business. I want to warn you. How is none of your business. The most important thing is just to increase those goals. I've found that most people fail in life, not because they aim too high and miss. Most people fail in life because they aim too low and hit. Really don't aim at all. So raise the bar on yourself and don't ask how you're going to do it. How is none of your business. I'll never forget when I decided that I wanted to become a motivational speaker. I saw the late Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, and my heart said, I can do that. But my mind asked the question, how? And for over 14 years, I would go see Zig Ziglar and Dr. Norman Vincent Peale and Jim Rohn and different speakers, and I would be in the audience, and my heart would pounce and say, you can do that, Les. And then when I would leave, I would go into the parking lot, and my mind said, how are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? I spent so many years trying to figure out how. I wasted 14 years. As you begin to think about your goals, the most important thing is commit yourself. See, once you commit yourself, the how will come, the way will come. Once you commit yourself, you will figure it out. You want to begin to just challenge yourself. You want to stretch yourself because you really don't know what you can't do. I don't want you to think about how you're going to do it. How is none of your business. If you're going in the wrong direction,
Yes.
all you have to do is turn around and
I
go
just
the
said I've
other
been
direction.
playing Les Brown. Les Brown talk about you have to make sacrifice. And Les Brown says that for you to be successful, and what that kind of gravitate to what I'm going to say here, for you to be successful, you have to prepare to do the things today that others not prepared to do, so tomorrow you have the things that others won't have. And that is so true. So with that, you've been making a lot of sacrifice, and people, it's gonna be strange because I mean, you're busting out now. People begin to recognize your talent, your skill, right? And people might say, "Well, boy, the man are lucky," but people don't understand the sacrifice you've made, Yeah, the sacrifice. Sometimes, let's be real, man. Sometimes you probably have no money, and you're out in the park at home. Sometimes you say, "Child, fancy just going out with your friends, them," and yes, though you do have a balance to the guy, but you've really made some commitment. But I mean, let people know the kind of sacrifice you've been going through, and yeah.
Boy, I think that the big thing is for me is when I used to listen to a lot of these great people talk about, because what I used to do is study during the day, and it comes in the evening, and I used to watch some of the stuff that I do, especially if I've been filmed and I've got certain footage and I'm able to watch it in the evening. And sometimes it was kind of hard, to watch yourself doing things and making mistakes, and you've made the mistake, and it was like very difficult. Sometimes some of the stuff I can't even watch it anyway, you know what I mean? But some I really do feel good for, and I just watch it over and over. But it was just like you had to kind of have a sort of kind of respect for the stage, or especially when you're up in front of people, because people might turn around and say to you, just go up and play, just relax, be comfortable. But once you step up there, it's like you don't really know what comfortable is again. You have to kind of really, in order to basically feel it, in order to sort of like to know that, yeah, I'm comfortable now, so you can go ahead and play. But the more you do something is sort of like the better you kind of become, and you get used to kind of being in that that kind of realm then.
The realm, the environment.
And you're able to sort of like do your things and don't really think about it because you're just on that every day.
Every day.
I think that's where the kind of the 10 hours come from, because, you know, it was just like, what am I going to do to get this fast? How long do I have to practice in order to get this within a certain period of time? And someone told me, someone was talking about this guy now, I think it was named Maxwell, and he said that things that you study, if you study it for certain times, certain hours a day, you can get it knocked down to 3 years, so or 3 years or 6 years, and you can be really good at it. So I've got the name of the brother, but someone was telling me about something like that, and I said to myself, 10 hours, and I just started to just really rinse it for 10 hours. But then again, I loved it anyway. I loved doing it.
You loved it, yeah.
So it just made it really easy.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay then. Okay. Inside hours, I said us, we do have Wadada inside the house. We're talking about his journey, you know, and also talking about sacrifice, commitment, because, you know, and we're lucky to have him inside the house, because some people might feel, say, boy, the man just lucky, him just come on the scene and he's made few contact, but the man's made some sacrifice, and I see it with my own eyes. Now, this is my bona fide brethren, you know. I'm not talking about we just met the other day and we just hook up and exchange numbers and buck and go for a drink. And some man we know for years, you know, Russ. I want people to know that. My bona fide brethren this, see? And, you know, and we're going to help him because, you know, each one teach one. If it means we just give him to edge, see? And somebody edge him this, make him bust out. And he's busting out now, see? So we good to have him among us, just reason with us and just let people know how him just start his journey. See? And don't forget, the man influenced by many sax and listen for them journey and thing. So like today now, Wadada, you know, I know you play quite a numerous amount of gigs and etc. And cause don't forget, me I've had the previous show, so at least about more than 12 gigs, right? More than 12. Remember that Uptown down on West Green Road there?
Uptown.
Remember?
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Okay,
remember
yeah,
we was doing a thing there on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was going for about 5-6 weeks in a row, I think. And I think no, longer than that. It's going for a few weeks, and you've been at least 4 or 5 times, if I'm not mistaken, innit?
Yes,
Yeah,
something like that.
Something like that. And at Park View, yeah, and Auntie Jean, you've done a few things there and different kind of things. I know I've had, you know, lucky to bring you on and stuff, and I've seen you a few gigs performing and stuff, you know. So tell me, son, how has the response been in terms of I know you do a lot of weddings, and has the response been, and how you know, yeah.
Well, it's getting better. I'm not nowhere where I want to be yet. You know what I mean? But end of the day, the hunger is there. You know, and to be honest, I don't really too business what I go through. You know what I mean? That's why I just kind of know that I'm gonna have it. You know, it's
gonna be there.
It's gonna, you know, I dream about it, and I don't even rave or anything no more because of it. And I feel that I did listen to, there was one artist that I was you know, with that back in the day. It was on YouTube. I can't remember the exact what the guy's name was, but he got in some problem when it come to drinking and drugs and all that. And that's one of the things that really make me have to sort of like kind of focus to know what kind of artist I really want to be, because I don't really want to sort of like, you know, get hooked on any drink or any kind of thing like that, so that I have to drink in order to perform. You know what I mean? So, you know, and I do know when you go out raving, and sometimes you feel like you want to have a drink, so you can just kind of let loose. But you know what? Tell her the truth, a lot of them things are just kind of killing us anyway.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, and boy, I just really just try, you know, well, I'm not trying to, but I'm just staying away from things like that.
But it's interesting because a lot of the jazz artists and musicians in the early days, a lot of them abuse themselves with was them times cocaine, innit?
Yeah, but
Cocaine
that's
and heroin
another
and all
one.
that stuff there, innit?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can go through the list, you know, there's Billie Holiday, and I think, did Charlie Parker was abused himself by drinking?
Yeah, I think it was alcohol.
Alcohol. A lot of them.
Yeah.
A lot of them. So, I mean, you know, you really have to be disciplined, you have to be focused, you know, keep away, from those stuff there. And Charlie Parker died reasonably young again, innit?
Yeah, he did. Maybe, I think it was more or less in his late 30s.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure. Don't quote me on that.
I don't think it was in his 40s. I don't think it was in the 40s,
yeah,
but
could be in the late 30s. Still.
yeah, you know, and etc. Anyway, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna feature an artist who Wadada knows of, another artist, and listen.
They'll have to pay. As the money grew and grew, philanthropy was part of it too. My house was open to all but a few. Protecting people, investing in others with something to do. Got real busy making music at Easy Street with star artists, creating songs, creating beats with live instruments that took you to the place that commences with the drum and bass, with rhythm and lead coming into play, keyboards and brass section with so much to say, as lead vocals and harmony led the way. Rico was phenomenal on the trombone. Angus from Aswad was extraordinary on drums. Huey Isachar, a bass superstar. Sugar Minott vocals really sweetened the place. The voices of the Heptones, Trevor Hartley and Winston Fergus flew at a melodious and passionate pace. I laid on the ganja, food and drinks, cabs to ferry artists from A to B, and paid them cash accordingly. In a thick marijuana mist, we produced reggae you couldn't resist, like Kind Man, Visions and Oja, to name but a few. Suddenly Engineer Eddie called me to the phone. Heard my girl Makita say my front door was chopped down that day. I stood silent with nothing to say. Kept cool and carried on recording till the session was done. Then went to the spot to witness my losses from jealous people, my trials and crosses. With their guile and greed, they never found the holy herb, the ganja breed, that was there in big supply, but it never caught their eye. Over $250,000 in sound equipment, vinyl, master tapes, and clothes were gone. That feeling in the gut didn't feel like fun. And as vengeful thoughts came my way, I heard the voice of God Almighty say, "Leave it to me, son. Put the posse and the gun and the knife away. You did no wrong, and they shall surely pay."
Yes, the great man, Tamara. And listen to this track here as well, because this track we're going to play after is going to lead on to something we're going to talk about. You know, depression. Depression.
I said depression.
What him say? depression. Listen very carefully what he has to say.
Depression came, I didn't see. The past in my life had caught up with me. The violent abuse I suffered as a child. My uni education that had been denied. So many things I'd suppressed inside. With nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. In a pitch black tunnel with no light in sight. Depression came like a thief in the night. Don't know if it came from the left or the right. But in denial, I put up a fight. With coke and alcohol abuse to make things right. My appetite for business and money was gone. Life became devoid of fun. A good woman was needed, but I couldn't find none. My chances were 1,000,000,000,000 to 1. As suicidal thoughts came along, it took much more than just being strong against a thing so forceful, not so easy to overcome. Alcohol and cocaine, they were the enemy and not my friends. But way back then, I didn't comprehend, as they anesthetized the pain, anger and torment. To forget the years of betrayal from family and friends, and women who came for financial gain. Massive burglaries I suffered again and again, feeling like an outcast with 1,000,000 friends. Committing murder appeared to be justified after the way that I'd been crucified, but somehow God kept me off that path, because only God could abate my wrath. Because only God could abate
Yes, great man, Tamara. You know, boy, I love his stuff. I play stuff every week because he is exceptional talent. You know, and that's why Wadada has to be here, because they're both exceptional talent and thing. But I'm gonna change the subject matter slightly now, because we're gonna talk about mental health, depression, and as you know that we've been touching this subject matter for the last, to be honest with you, from at least from about February. I've not said February, March, April, May, June, July, August. Yes, nearly 7 months. Yeah, well, yeah, 7 months. You know, we've been touching it near enough every single week. And people might be saying, boy, how come you talk about the same thing? You know, what I'm to you? You know, when you talk about something else now and talk about this and that and rare. Right? But we have to talk, in fact, we talk about this thing every week. Personally, talk about this subject matter because it's something we shy away from. See? And I was talking to Wadada today, and as he met me today, and I was saying to him, I was walking down Turnpike Lane, I see about 3 black youth space out. Just space out, don't, just confused. Stand up, one's looking on the floor, you know, one just look confused. Black youth them. Right? What they're going through, I don't know, you know. See? Tamara was explaining to me just the other day, a woman hang herself. In fact, hopefully we join a little bit later on, but he could explain that more, you know. And, you know, this year, at least 2 youth we get to know have committed suicide. See? So these are the times we're living in right now. I'm not saying that, you know, we have to be gloom and dark and gloom, but I mean, serious things going on right now. And one of the things on what Dad would agree with me that, you know, we got to change our lifestyle. You know, look at our diet. Look at the people we surround ourselves with. See? Look at the company we're mingling with. Not saying must judge them, but you need to question because there are some people just so negative. There's some some said to me that they don't believe in Dracula, and I do believe. I do. There has to be some vampires, But the point I'm trying to make here that we have to be more aware, more conscious now, right? And yes, you need to have a life. You need to balance things out. You need to have a laugh, have a joke, and just balance things out. But we need to understand what time it is we're in right now. See? And as I said, do you know that every 60 seconds, I'm talking about around the world, someone commits suicide? The suicide numbers among black men, right, in this country, is the numbers are so high. I need to get the figures then. So when next week I'll get the figures then, but it's so high. So yeah. So Wadada, you know what I mean? You know that we've been talking a lot of things about depression, mental health. I know that you made observation with me as well. And one thing you talk about, is our lifestyle, our diet. I mean, what you want to bring to the table? You don't think about this, what I was just saying.
Well, I feel when it comes to us as a people, I mean, I can't really speak for anybody else. You know what I mean? Not saying that, but I'm just interested in your own first, innit? Because everybody else is interested in their own. But when it comes to black people, I think one of the worst things we can do, even though we're not in the position to do anything else at the present moment, but it's to send your beautiful young children to be schooled by somebody that don't care, basically. And I think that's one of the worst things, because they're teaching our children how to become Europeans. I mean, it's like when you actually go to school and they're teaching you, it's like you can shut them children's brain, like they just don't really want to work, or you know what I mean? I don't think that, we've got to start doing things for ourselves. Easier said than done still, but that is more or less the kind of way forward, for us to start having our own things. We might not have it yet, but that's the aim, to teach our children the way how we want to teach our children, because we've got a way of doing things, you understand? So, it's just, it's very tough subject to talk about, but we all know that is the way forward, because you don't see animals, like monkey, teaching the giraffe, not teaching or looking after a giraffe, you know what I mean? It's just, you know what I'm saying? So, it's kind of simple, really and truly, but.
Well, you're absolutely right in terms of we need to be looking at for ourselves, and I'm in agreement with that, yeah, and also we got to look at what is happening now, because one of the things I'm focused around is a lot of stuff around men, because men don't talk, right? Because women would talk to their girlfriends, their friends, even to strangers, but men are wired up differently, and result of that, they're holding on to a lot of stuff, and as they say, man, wall it door, not, brave up as a man, and that same thing, wall up is strangling you, So we do need support network to support men who are going through challenges, and just men just to talk and let off, because all that is part of the healing.
I absolutely feel that, definitely. We need our own kind of like men's societies and our own groups, so where we can come together and talk about the issues that we have, and just kind of, address, you know what I'm saying? So, and you'd be surprised, how them things can sort of like make you feel when you actually sit down and you get rid of some of the stuff that actually you're going through.
You're going through and stuff.
The effect that it can have on you. And those are the things that I feel that we don't do, We have everything, but yet we don't have nothing. It's just like we come from the continent of Africa, yeah, and Africa's so rich, but yet we're poor. How do you get that?
Yeah.
But you know, one thing I realized that, and that's the same with Marcus Garvey says it anyway. You know what I mean? It's like we got to suffer, yeah, so much before we get to realize what's going on. You can see it happening to us, eventually.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, it's like a state of emergency where you see a lot of the young men there and killing one another, right? And yet, there's no, well, like you can see that it's not really, it's in a state of emergency, but people ain't really saying, well, people are saying certain things about it, but it should be more than that, if you know what I mean.
But you see, let me just say that, talking about what's happening now in terms of young people killing each other, you know what I mean? It's like they have no conscience, they just don't care. You know, a man would see a youth out there and just stab him to death or take a gun and shoot him. It could be in a funeral, you know? I mean, you know, that's level of madness, a level of mental health. Madness. See?
Yeah, well, you got a lot of people are going through things, you know what I mean? Even like with the music that I'm doing, I have to lock off in order to kind of really get into the art, right? Right, I have to lock myself away and basically study and be by myself, you know what I mean? And sometimes it's just hard to sort of like do it, you know what I mean? But because I love it, it kind of makes it easier. And then, you know, when it comes to music, sometimes it does things to you anyway.
Yeah.
But still, it's sort of like, it's art. So you might think things, I mean, well, especially like before, you know what I mean, say like 5 years ago, it's like, are you really going to get anywhere with this? Like, you know what I mean? So you kind of question yourself. So you got to be really kind of really on it. And you got to be always saying things to yourself. Like, in other words, like you just playing Les Brown. Like, I might even listen to, what's that, Reverend Ike.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, and the things that he might actually say.
Rebel was well advanced in his time, though, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So,
and you listen to Phil Valentine's, Delbert Blair, and they might say certain things about the black man and the black woman. And then when you listen to things like that, you start thinking that, yeah, you can, you know what I mean? Like, but you have to be listening to things like that to know that you can do it. Even to turn around and say, well, you don't really want to go no university, you know what I mean? You just want to sit down and study. You can do it. It can be done. You know what I'm saying? But then again, you're going to find sometimes you go through certain things where you don't really have the dough, so to speak.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to... You stopped?
No, go on.
So you're gonna have to sort of like make some kind of allowances especially if you're not getting the kind of sort of like money that you might need to sustain. But one thing I begin to realize, that this instrument has kind of made me more disciplined with how I eat. You know what I mean? And one thing I do know, when you don't really when you're not eating like how you would eat, like if you've got a lot of money, you know what I mean? It kind of makes you more focused, you know what I mean?
Focused,
yeah, it keeps you on the grind, and it's like, if you want to visualize something, when, you know what I mean, your belly not full, that's one of the best times to do it, you know what I mean? But if you're going to have to sort of like visualizing your belly full, you might just go straight to down and sleep, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
But, you know what I mean, it's not exactly like that, but still, what I'm saying is just, you know, the less you have, it's the more hungry you are.
It's about being hungry.
Yeah, you have to have that kind of hungry in order to really kind of... If you got too much, it's going to be like, yeah, well, I'll do it tomorrow.
All right. I'm going to play some more of the great man, Les Brown.
Prostate cancer.
Listen carefully to the great man, Les Brown.
That I could do this. It was hard. It was hard. Never forget, my son says, Daddy,
This is what Dada was talking about.
Why you ask me that?
Just think about
You're
what
not
he just
doing
said.
that much. You're not. here because a lot of people helped me. I'm here because a lot of people believed in me at a time when I was struggling to believe in myself. Not only is it possible that you can live your dream, is it necessary that you call forth your team and surround yourself with people that you can learn from and grow from. You must work on yourself and monitor yourself and train yourself. You've got to begin to take total responsibility for the outcomes that you want to produce in your life. But let us say together with power and conviction, it's hard. It's hard. Living a dream, changing your life, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard when you lose all your money, when you've given it the best that you have. It's hard. It's hard. When you have some major setback, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. When a doctor looked at me and said the three horrible words no one wants to hear, you have cancer. It was hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. To mobilize my mind and spirit, to listen to tapes and music and read scripture and be around other people and seeking out other prostate cancer conquerors to believe that I could do this. It was hard. It was hard. It was hard. Never forget, my son said, "Daddy, are you going to die?" "Why are you asking me that?" "You're not going out much. You're not the bubbly personality that I know you to be. You're not talking much. You're spending a lot of time in the room by yourself, Dad. Are you going to surrender? Are you giving up? Are you going to let that doctor's opinion become your reality?" "Daddy, are you going to die?" "Will my daddy see me graduate?" Yes, son, yes. I'm going to fight. No, I don't think it's my time yet. I'm going to see you graduate, but more than that, I've got some other things that I'm going to do with my life. And I thank you for asking me that. But I must tell you that I'm scared. I'm scared. And I've never been in this situation before. I'm scared. I'm scared. It's been easy for me to talk to people and encourage people when they've had challenges in their lives, but it's me. And I don't feel less than a man in admitting this to you. Yes, I'm scared. And I need some help. But I'm scared. Scared. Ask for help. Not because you're weak, but because you want to remain strong. And ask for help.
Yeah, very powerful message by Les Brown. Very powerful message. We're expecting a sister to phone. I just text her the information for the phone, so she'll be phoning and talking about personal development and the spirit and mental health and everything. So she'll be joining us. Hopefully she'll be joining us. But again, listen to the great man Les Brown. You know? Just listen to the lyrics of Les Brown.
I'm here because a lot of people helped me.
And this is a true story. You know, because he did have cancer. You know?
To believe in myself. Not only is it possible that you can live your dream, is it necessary that you call forth your team and surround yourself with people that you can learn from and grow from. You must work on yourself and monitor yourself and train yourself. You've got to begin to take total responsibility for the outcomes that you want to produce in your life. But let us say together with power and conviction, it's hard. It's hard. Living a dream, changing your life, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard when you lose all your money, when you've given it the best that you have. It's hard. It's hard. When you have some major setback, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. When the doctor looked at me and said the three horrible words no one wants to hear, you have cancer. It was hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. To mobilize my mind and spirit, to listen to tapes and music and read scripture and be around other people and seeking out other prostate cancer conquerors to believe that I could do this. It was hard. It was hard. It was hard. Never forget, my son says, "Daddy, are you going to die?" "Why are you asking me that?" "You're not going out much. You're not the bubbly personality that I know you to be. You're not talking much. You're spending a lot of time in the room by yourself, Dad. Are you going to surrender? Are you giving up? Are you going to let that doctor's opinion become your reality?" "Daddy, are you going to die?" "Will my daddy see me graduate?" Yes, son, yes. I'm gonna fight. No, I don't think it's my time yet. I'm gonna see you graduate, but more than that, I've got some other things that I'm gonna do with my life. And I thank you for asking me that. But I must tell you that I'm scared. I'm scared. And I've never been in this situation before. I'm scared. Scared. It's been easy for me to talk to people and encourage people when they've had challenges in their lives, but it's me. And I don't feel less than a man in admitting this to you. Yes, I'm scared. And I need some help. But I'm scared. Scared. Ask for help. Not because you're weak, but because you want to remain strong. And ask for help. And don't stop until you get it. Don't stop. See, life is hard. There are some moments in life when you're going to need some help. You're going to need somebody to speak to you. You're going to need somebody to say something.
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine.
Why? I hope that resonates with most people here, because these are kind of stuff we need to play out all the time. You know, I mean, what I was just talking about, he can resonate with Les Brown because we sabotage ourselves. Anyway, what do you think about we just played this that clip there?
Yeah, definitely. That kind of hit home, because sometimes when you kind of going for things and people might actually turn around and say things to you like as if, you can't reach there, or they might say, "You're not a boss," you know what I mean? And even though you don't really, it's just like goes straight over your head, but sometimes it's actually, he might be just in the back there, you know what I mean? But I think it's important to know who you got around you, because sometimes when someone says something powerful to you, it can really have a powerful effect, just like if it was the opposite way, it will put you on the downers. But I've got some good people around me. A brother named Frontier, he chats lyrics DJ,
Okay.
Yeah, he calls himself Frontier. And he's a brother who is very, very confident. And just to listen to him, because sometimes you're in the company of people for a reason, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, nothing's by chance, you know what I mean? And this brother, when you listen to him and he's talking to you and the way he might talk about himself and everything like that, it's actually telling you there's something that you're supposed to be taking from it, from that. So if you're in a company of people, sometimes you meet people just for a week. Some people you might meet for a month. Some people might meet for a lifetime. You know what I'm saying? So it's basically just like that. So you got to kind of know who you're around and understand what they're really trying to say to you. Because sometimes they might be saying that's what you need. You need to adopt that kind of attitude. You know what I'm saying? So big up a man called Albert. A good brother that I know well over. Yeah, about 30 years now.
30 years, yeah?
Yeah, he used to come back in the day when I used to have the shop, Yeah, Albert. Yeah, big up Albert. Yeah, very solid, focused brother.
See.
Another brother named Victor. You know, I used to cut his hair back in the day. Still cut his hair now, actually. Yeah,
You still
Victor.
cut people's hair?
Yeah, not that much
Not
though,
that much,
because I don't
because
really
of the
like. I'm
DJ.
not into the rushing thing. I
Yeah.
just take my time and do it.
Yeah.
But as I said, it's just couple of people that say about 5 people that just I could never like say no to them.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
they always got my back. Always. Yeah. Victor. Albert, don't cut Albert's here no more, but me and him was always talking anyway. Man, like, Marcus Garvey, the original Mark Waters.
Marcus Garvey.
Yeah, that's what we call him, Marcus
Marcus
Garvey, you know what I mean? Yeah, man, he was one teacher. Marcus Garvey, yeah, Mark. Big up Femi Biko.
Very big, yeah. Big him up every time, yeah.
Yeah, I have to remember all the names then now, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? But, you know, I've got some good people around, you know. And, you know, you do need that. People need encouragement. And sometimes when you're feeling a certain way, sometimes you need to call people. We can give you that extra boost. Yeah, big up my brother Patrick as well. You know what I mean? I kind of remember him. But sometimes when you're actually on this talking mode, you tend to, you know, your head kind of goes a bit like, you don't remember certain things or you supposed to call, innit? So, but yeah, it's just like that, man. But, you know, end of the day, you know, it's your intentions. You know.
Okay, then. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to play a track by a great man, Tamra. Then after that, I'm going to ask Wadada to grace us with his sex after.
Seasoning fish, changing nappies and making bottles, sweeping, hoovering, shopping, and laundering. I began to get resentful as I fell far away in London, England. With no maid in sight, I was given the job, but not to my delight. Peeling potatoes, gutting, scaling, and seasoning fish, changing nappies and making bottles, sweeping, hoovering, shopping, and laundering. I began to get resentful as I fell far away from heaven. At the tender age of 7, violently abused by my father, enslaved to domestic drudgery by my mother. With hope and prayers I played it cool, but the abuse continued, regardless of how well I did in school. When nigger and wog was flung at me, I simply used to laugh. Until Raymond Ricardo, my school friend, said, "They're taking the piss." That's a fact. From then on, I fought in school nearly every day and had to watch out for knife-wielding racist gangs as I traveled from A to B. Feeling robbed of my childhood and still wetting the bed, nerve tablets were prescribed for me. As I questioned the absence of Mammy's healing herb tea, then there was the hernia operation in consequence of lifting things far too heavy for me. Today, those nerve tablets are now called antidepressants, you see. Light shone through the darkness at the age of 12 as I became lead singer of a band called Tracks. Got the job after singing a poem in a cappella in the English literature class. With singing and dancing, my emotions were unshelved, keeping a balance through what was a living hell. I never looked forward to going home from school. I'd rather be in a boarding house, no matter how strict the rules. Running away was the constant thought of the day. But not knowing where to go, I felt compelled to stay. I refused to call the police. I refused to tell people in school. I refused to tell my relatives. But Mommy was no fool. And my siblings knew the excruciating times that I was going through. As if that wasn't enough, I also had to suffer the sight and sound of my father's regular violent beatings of my mother, our beautiful, intelligent mother, who sometimes overdosed on aspirin, a cry for help undercover. To help her indeed, I was determined to do, but only mere words came out instead, as I encouraged Ma to leave Pa, as I would as soon as I could.
Yes, the skills of Wadada and probably Gifted and Black. Yeah, Wadada, is really I can't even find the words. It's always a pleasure just to hear your skills and your talent. And as I said, this man practiced so many hours. This could be precise, about nearly 10 to 11 hours a day, studying, playing, to perfect his skill. So it just shows you that this man is dedicated. And is that we're playing a lot of stuff by Les Brown and what that can relate to Les Brown, because the journey what Les Brown's been on, the same journey what that has been on as well, and myself and many other people. But the thing is that, as Les Brown says, for you to be successful, you have to be prepared to do things today that others are not prepared to do. So tomorrow, you have the things that others won't have. And what I like about Wadada studies so many different disciplines, listens to different scholars, read. Today he was showing me everything about Delbert Blair. I've always heard the name. I listened to some of his stuff, but he was breaking down some stuff. We were talking about vibration, some serious stuff. What that has reached, but because what that is, so much in tune to himself and the breathing and the exercise and the dieting. He's got so much to give and to offer. This man is a servant to the universe. With that, I want to just share a little bit about your discipline in terms of your diet and what do you eat and what do you do in terms of your diet and just share. Yeah.
Right. Well, when I'm actually on it. Well, yeah, I've been like vegan for quite a long time still, maybe that over 2 years. But sometimes when it's very difficult, I slip just like anybody else. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's not easy. Put it that way.
Yeah.
It's not easy. But it's good for you. When it comes to food, you have to be very, very careful what you're eating because they are attacking us via the food. You know what I'm saying? So, you just got to kind of just really be able to sort of like know or understand what you're eating and know when you're eating, and just know that if you're eating too late, that, you just got to be careful what time
Got to be careful what you're eating and stuff.
So.
Okay. But what I was going to say to you as well, that you're the one who was telling about the farmers market on Sunday at the Palace. Let people know about that.
Yeah. There's a brother called Kai, and big up Kai, yeah, for real. Rainforest Foods in Alexandra Palace. Yeah, Sunday, and I do believe he does one at Oval. There's a food market down there, and he deals with a lot of like raw food as opposed to not raw meat or raw fish, but raw vegetables and beans and so on and so forth. And it's just packed with a lot of vitamins and minerals. Yeah, and it's called the Rainforest Foods down Alexandra Palace on Sunday. And
I went down there one time because you did tell me I went there one time. Did I meet you down there one time?
I ain't sure, yeah.
I think, yeah, I met you one time. We left from there, went to an event over Wood Green. You remember one time?
Yeah.
Remember I took it to play at White Hart Lane.
All right, okay,
yeah. You remember the time there? I met down, and there was an event down White Hart Lane, down New Riverside.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Cause I went down there and we met the brother there, yeah.
But there is a couple of places, vegan food places where you got Sanjerdon Road as well. I forgot the brother and the sister's name.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Yeah, they're in Sanjerdon Road, and they're doing some good. I forgot the name of their shop, they've got a nice vegan place down there where they do ackee and saltfish and things like that. But vegan style, and and there's also some sisters down there. I think it's on Seven Sisters Road.
Sisters Road, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously you got the Eat of Eden in Brixton. They're like packed.
Oh, I know, just around the corner from the station there, yeah.
Eat of Eden. They're just like packed.
They're on it. That's fantastic.
Yeah, when I mean packed, there.
That's good.
It's like, boy, you can see that they're going to be, moving to a bigger venue soon. You know what I mean? Because that place is just ram. Everybody's buying from them. You know what I'm saying?
Then.
So, yeah.
I must go down there. I must go down and have a meal. Just go down and just see what's going to support what's happening down there. Yeah. I know where the place is. I think just around the corner from the station. Yeah.
Yeah, just in the market.
In the market.
Which station? Yeah, I think I'm not even sure what because you got Brixton Station, but you must be talking the railway station.
Is it near the railway station? Is it?
Well, it must be. I think it. I think it is because there is a railway station.
There is a railway station around there. Yeah.
I don't know the name of it, but
probably called Brixton. Is it called Loughborough?
Might be. I ain't really that sure. Yeah. I know that there's a Brixton Underground. I don't know what the other one is, but I do know that there is a railway.
There is a railway station.
And it's round the corner from there. Yeah, it's absolutely right. Yeah.
Okay then. I'm just.
I want to pick up my children as well.
To sell and to get some money back. And as the business rapidly grew, I became shepherd and head of a ganja crew. Sprinkled ganja in my ital stew. Ganja tea was my morning brew. Ganja cakes and pudding for the chosen few. I was strictly ital through and through. Surrounded by gangsters, reggae stars and DJs too, with their crew. The chalice we lit burned an ounce at a time. And as we gave thanks and praises to the Most High Yah, we with conscious reasoning on biblical lines. If we smoke 16 ounces, half or 3/4, or all the bill was mine. With 2 restaurants and a nightclub, photography business, pool and electronic games venture, child record label too, including the ganja business. I was doing very well, thank you. I had a collector's Mercedes, a BMW, and more cars parked outside. The house in which I lived with 3 women, at which men would marvel and sigh. How do you do it? And I would simply say, honesty and money paved the way, resulting in peace of mind and integrity. For ganja. Police stops and searches were a regular thing, with or without wearing bling. No matter what vehicle we were driving, on foot it was just the same. As we played the duck and diving game, with cloak and dagger and the gangster's swagger. We suffered persecution for the herb that heals the nation, keeping the peace in recreation, and gave us economic salvation from sus laws and police brutalization. They even took my collector's Mercedes away and said you'll never get it back again, even if I took them to court. And the judge ruled in my favor. They'd never give me back that car, 'cause they knew what I did for a living. It was their time to take and mine for the giving. Things got even worse, more blasé, as police corruption grew. I was jailed for 18 months for possession of ganja you couldn't chew or see, weighing less than 1/4 gram in reality. Like so many brothers in that game, for the healing of the nation in Jah name, a martyr for ganja I became.
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Who am I speaking to?
You're speaking to Anne?
Oh, Anne, how you keeping? You good?
Yeah, I'm fine, I'm fine. There's a bit of an echo, but can you hear me
You know, we hear
clearly?
you quite clearly. Very
Okay.
good. Yeah. So, Anne, what you want to bring to the table? We listen to the show?
Well, I've been out and about, so I didn't really catch the show so far.
Okay, then. No problem. Is there anything you like to talk about? Because we've been talking about a lot of stuff around well-being and mental health, and etc. And you know, something we've been constantly been talking about for the last last 6 months. I didn't know. I keep saying the other day, but 6 months and
Yeah.
consistently, and you know, it's just pure stuff we need to talk about because a lot of men, especially talk about men, are under so much stress and pressure. Even today, I saw about 3 or 4 youths
Yeah.
when I was walking down Wood Green, just space out, space out,
Yeah.
So, we need to be tackling it, talking about it, break the stigma,
Definitely.
because a lot of I'm talking about young men as well as
Yeah.
older men, just under stress, and men and women, but I do find there's a lot of men just really space out and stuff. But I know you do a
Exactly.
lot of work in that particular area. And what do you think we should be doing to tackle all this stuff here?
Well, what you're actually doing on the platform, that's definitely normalizing. You have to excuse me because I've got sore throat, but the weather. But it's normalizing the fact that men can access help, feel vulnerable. Because usually there's more places for women. So I think that having platforms like this, it's echoing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just having a platform like this will help the young men. I mean, there's lots I can think about. I mean, I work with young people, and I was at work today and everything.
Right.
So we work with young men, as young fathers, lots of pressures that young men are under. And definitely, this is a platform I will be contacting, and I can say much more about it. But I think talking about it, our generation as well, supporting the younger people, and not kind of burying our heads in the sand, which a lot of people in the community, they actually do, and say negative things about the young people rather than, being aware of the problems and the pressures that they're going through. So I think your platform is excellent, highlighting psychological well-being.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Definitely. I'm just conscious that we do have two other guests inside the house.
Okay.
Well, one of them is not really a guest. That's Tamara is here quite regular, and also we
hello.
do have Wadada as well. And I probably want to ask question or share some information. In fact, you've met Tamara. You met Tamara?
Yes, I have. He was at the event.
Yes.
It was amazing. Yeah, the poetry. Yeah, I
yeah.
remember.
Because he's an artist and he's been through a lot of stuff. The other thing about mental health, depression, he's written not written. He's got a CD called Ex Gangster. And
Yes, I've heard him on your platform. Yeah.
yeah, so he's been waving the flag, so to speak. Get people to break the stigma.
The stigma, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know if what that you got any question you want to ask or the sister or what or what or even Tamara got any questions they want to ask?
But not just yet. We go on.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, go on, go through.
Hi.
Yes, blessed love, sister. What's
Hello.
your name? Hi there.
What's my name? Anne.
Anne, yes, and
Yes.
Tamara Gabriel speaking, and it's a pleasure to hear your voice. Tell me, are you yourself going through any mental illness at the moment, any sort of stress and strain, pressure, or maybe am I being too
No, it's absolutely it's fine to ask, but no. Put it this way, I can't really say that I've had any history of. Can you hear me? Because it's just gone.
Yes, I
No,
can
can
hear
you,
you.
can hear you good. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Just I haven't got a history of any mental kind of distress or anything, but I would say that I'm somebody that sometimes I'm affected by other people and their behaviours. So I think that's definitely something that I've looked at.
But and I think it'd be wise
Yeah.
just give a little background because probably Tamara know what kind of stuff you do. Give a little background, kind of work you do. 'Cause you do a lot of work in this particular area, mental. Just give a little background
Yeah.
what kind of work you do. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'm a psychotherapist, and as a teacher to start with, and in special education. So I worked with lots of children who were deemed as having behavioural problems. So I kind of deliver a therapeutic teaching, accessing what's going on for them, etc. So I transitioned to becoming a psychotherapist,
Yeah.
and then for adults, and then I went into child and young people counselling.
And
So, and I do clinical assessments, and we work in conjunction with psychiatrists. So, we are in primary care basically. So there's a care pathway, and I work with generally people who have depression, anxiety.
that's
Although I
wonderful.
can assess people with severe psychological issues and work with them, I choose to work with young people, anger, depression, and anxiety.
Yeah.
So that's the area that we're working in and trying to promote psychological well-being to the community. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So is that enough? Yeah.
Right.
Yes, yes. Well, we're looking for people like you to work even with us, even in part time, anytime you can, with from
Yeah.
Rehab to Life Foundation. But excuse me,
Right.
I've got someone on the line here. If you just take over there, please, brother. Sorry. Hello?
Sorry.
Okay.
Technical that side. Yeah. Sorry. You have to take a call. I was gonna say to you
Okay.
now. Sorry, Anne. What I was gonna say to you
Oh no,
now
that's fine.
is that one of the things I get to observe, right, is one of the key things: anxiety and isolation. It probably go hand in hand. And phew, I've talked about quite a few people who suffer from anxiety and isolation. And
Yeah.
one of the things I was talking to someone about this, and one of the things he was talking about, there should be an organization. In fact, he was trying to set this organization where people should go around to people's home and have a conversation with, especially people who's just isolated, just cut
Yeah.
themselves from the world, and that's a big killer. I just want to bring it to the table. Yeah.
No, that's absolutely true. And I've heard a lot about that with regards to our elders as well. A lot of our elders have become isolated. People that were just up and about years ago feel trapped in their own home. So there's that going on. There's young people facing isolation. The new job that I'm doing, coming across a lot of young people who are like isolated and the anxiety is really high. So that's one of my specialist areas, is working with anxiety. So I can definitely bring that to the table, how we work with that on the platform and contact your show
Right.
over the time. Yeah.
But definitely, because one of the things I get to overstand, because by nature we're interactive human beings. We need to interact.
Yeah.
Meet other fellow human beings and talk or say hello or whatever the case may be. We're not we're not born just to be by ourselves. I mean, there are times we have to be by ourselves. Because you have to focus and concentrate. But to be by yourself and don't talk to nobody, you know what I mean? That's not healthy at all.
No,
It's not
you're
healthy at
absolutely
all. It's not
right.
healthy at all.
So I know that they also have telephone lines as well. So I'll be getting
Yeah,
information
there is,
about that
yeah.
as well,
Yeah.
where people can talk.
But
So
what they
that
call
kind of
that? That's called a Good
reduces it.
Samaritan? What they call
They have
it?
the Samaritan, and they have other ones as well. They even have youth counselling as well, where people can just have 4 sessions, someone contacting them. Yeah.
Hello, can I say something?
Yeah, of course, man.
Hello,
Hi.
Sister Ann.
Hello. Hi again. Hi.
So are you saying, can we refer people to you, like, because there's so many cases out there, no one agency can deal with them all, and so could we refer youths to you, as you prefer to deal with young people? And are you also willing to come with us into schools, maybe in your spare time, and colleges, like things like that, and unis, to do
Oh
some
yeah.
talks, and in
Yeah.
prisons and stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, that I'd be able to do because I can contact you about that for sure. In
Yes,
terms
yes, we
of,
need to
I
link.
don't have a private practice location set up at the moment, so I'm
Doesn't
working for
matter.
organisation. So
Yes, that's
the
all
young
right.
people, yeah.
That's all right.
Well, Tamara, to the truth, right, she's part of our team now, you know what I mean?
Lovely.
Sister Anne.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, she's very much hands-on part of the team. So we are working on other things as well, in terms of how we reach out. In the the schools might be a bit delicate, right? Right, but definitely into the community, community centres, into the university colleges, and mostly in the work environment as well, in the workplace.
Exactly.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we're all on the same page. That's really positive.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to happen because people are isolated and reaching out, and so definitely I'm on board with that. So
Yes,
yeah.
and also people are suffering in silence. You know, they isolate their mouths, they won't speak, you know, and they're suffering in
Exactly.
silence. And they're smiling, but they're not telling you anything. They're doing all the opposite.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You think they're on top of the world, and next thing you know, they've committed suicide or just went and murdered somebody out of the
Absolutely.
blue.
Absolutely. I've seen that in client work. People that have the mask and everyone thinks they're fine.
Yes.
Because we go by the exterior in our community a
yeah,
lot.
but I mean, just the other day, you have someone, you know, just go out and just shoot up people just random. You know what I mean? Just,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, but hold on. Just the other day, right? It's online, where a youth stabbed his brother at a funeral, where
I
the
heard
mother, where the mother is burying the son,
Yes.
right? Right. So
Right.
you imagine
My God.
what she's going through right now, where when another son at the funeral, which her son, you know, got murdered, stabbed to death.
Yes, I heard
You know,
about that.
yeah. I mean, go on.
You know, hello, Anne.
Hello, hi.
Yeah. I don't know if you did. There's a man called Dr. Shad Helmstetter. Yeah. I do
Right.
believe he's sort of German. And he's got a book out called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. Yeah. And, you know, it's kind of very powerful, but he goes
Yeah.
into, which we're going to go back through the same thing again, where we're bringing our children to be taught. Yeah, basically, he was saying is that, you know, the first stages of your life, you got to be very careful who's writing or who is recording on the brain, because your brain's obviously like a recorder, yeah? So you got to
Yeah,
be very
absolutely.
careful who is teaching you. So you've got all different kind of races, like you got Asian people, you got European people, and they kind of teach their own children where they come from, yeah?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I really do feel those are the things that we don't do. So
Yeah,
when you
that's-
when you see a lot of black on black violence,
Mm-hmm.
and I will tell you this, I used to have an uncle, and he said to me one time, you know, that I'm gonna say it anyhow because we heard this thing all the time. He goes, me can't stand when a girl, me can't take a girl when she too black, she too dark. But my uncle was dark, and his wife
Yeah.
was darker than him. Yeah. Now
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know that ain't coming from my uncle, but I know that it's coming from before. So what I'm trying to say, you know, when I say before, I mean from ancient times, yeah, or you know what I'm talking
absolutely.
about. But what I'm trying to say is very important that when you have your children, in order to kind of let your children understand the future that you want, you got to be writing or you got to be recording on that recorder, which is their brain, so that they
Yeah,
will be able to live that future that you want for them. You can't expect anybody to do it for you. Just the other day, we realised, you know, slavery was put back. We just realised that it was Windrush. So no one's
Right,
going to
I'm
tell
with you.
you.
Yeah.
No one is going to. You
Yeah.
can't expect them to, because if I was them, I wouldn't tell you either. Because, you know what I mean? If I tell you, then you're going to be able to liberate yourself. So what I'm saying to
Exactly,
you,
and
we
change.
can't expect. So we can't be too shocked to mere fact that our children are killing one another on the street. We can't be shocked because look who's teaching our children. Need to draw them out of there. It's just as simple as that. You know, I don't think that we shouldn't be surprised about anything that's happening with our children. I mean, if we've got
That's true.
if we've got any issues, one of the first things they want to do is give our children drugs, and drugs normally you can't. Drugs are illegal, isn't it? But then again,
Yeah.
the things are in the pharmaceutical industry, they classify them as drugs. So what are we talking about?
No,
It shouldn't have
absolutely
the
right.
same name, should it? Really? But that's
No,
the,
you're right. Absolutely.
that's the trick. You know what I mean? So I just feel that we know what it is. we know what it is. We just really kind of need to if we really care about our children, because at this present moment there is a state of emergency, and no one's not
Absolutely.
acting like it. No one's
I
acting
totally
like
agree.
it. That's one of the
Yeah.
reasons why they will continuously to do that. Because, far as I'm concerned, if someone's got guns, I can understand that if you're frightened of them. But when somebody don't have no weapons, why are you frightened? You know something that I don't know, man. You know what I mean? Don't forget, we go to these hospitals, right? And they take the blood. You know what I mean? You take your blood, so they can understand. You like, there's this thing circling around on WhatsApp. Yeah, I don't know. You must have seen it. Where there's this man in South Africa, right? And he's into like germ warfare, yeah. And he's kind of making antidotes, or whatever you want to call it, so that it can get rid of a certain type of people and not the rest. You know what I mean?
Wow.
He's making germ warfare, so he can get rid of black people, then, so to speak. So what I'm saying to you, the very same people that have done this to our ancestors, and I love my ancestors. I don't know about Jesus and all that. I don't really know about it because I wasn't there. But I know about my father, my father's father, and my father's mother, and whatever. I know about that. Yeah, definitely know about that. So what I'm saying to you, at the end of the day, the same thing what happened to them, we're actually giving up our young people, or we're going to their hospital, so to speak. You know, I'm not just talking. You know, everybody kind of has been through these things, so we know exactly what we're talking about. But we're absolutely not cutting anybody off when we should do. Because you know what they say about somebody that's got a history of doing something. You're not supposed to let them have a second chance. But what's happening? They've got a history. We know about it, and they're still bringing a young in there by the truckloads.
That's
So
true.
it's happening to us for a reason. You know what I mean?
So, Anne, just want to
excellent.
I mean, what does make some very excellent points, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, some very valuable points, and we need to chew around some of the points where he's talking about. But I just want to bring it forward, because I mean, we did talk about the way forward, and you did mention that about one of the things we need to do is bring these conversation on the what we're doing right now on the platform and the media, doing workshops, you know, and so forth. And it's about bringing awareness, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, awareness and so forth, right? Is there anything else you think we should be, in terms of solution now, and also we've got Tamara inside the house as well, and in terms of what we should doing more in terms of solutions and moving forward?
Well, I think coming together, and we all have our different areas of expertise and we're all contributing. So to me, that's the start, having the conversation. It's going to be the raw conversation. The solutions are there. And this is the thing. I think we know what the solution is. And it's about like educating, etc. It's about educating our young people. It's about people taking an interest in the community. And so much more comes to mind, because it's been years, guys, that I've wanted to have this conversation. And I was doing the research, and the people I came across, nobody wanted to have the conversation.
Okay.
So the solutions are there. Each of us in our professions coming together, and we create a plan of action. And the solution would be having the workshops, having the facilities where we can come together. I mean, I could say so much about it, but I have the expertise. We work in anxiety. I've worked with black men who, like I said, walked in, said they didn't like black women, and they ended up working with me because they were programmed in a certain way, and they transformed during the sessions because we were looking at the narrative. So I think when you have people who are pro-black, who work with certain individuals, they can help them to see themselves.
Okay.
Because a lot of the people are ignorant in terms of they don't understand what they're saying, the narrative.
Right. Let me just jump in there.
Yeah.
When you say that they don't like black women, is it because of their experience with black women?
Well, what's happened is I was shocked, because that's why different reasons. But the gentleman that was speaking before, when he mentioned about the darkness, like I would say to them, you know, obviously I'm a black woman. It doesn't bother me that they don't like black women. But if I'm going to be their therapist, is that a problem? And they'd be like, no, if it were a certain type of black woman, you wouldn't catch me sitting here. So, yeah.
So, when I say
pass.
certain type of black woman, what are they saying then?
I think it's because I'm aware that he might offend, so I don't like repeating. But if it would be saying that if it was a woman that was really, really dark in their opinion and look a certain way.
Right.
Yeah, I don't really, like to...
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that was a consistent narrative.
Okay, then.
And that would surprise me in that sense.
Okay,
because,
I understand more because it gives me a bit more of a clear picture. Sorry, what did I? Yeah.
I wanted to say something, just in case anybody kind of misinterpret what I said there. Because for me, one of the things I always tell my children, and I normally always say two things before I put the phone down on any one of my children, right? I always say two things, right? I say duplication and be polite. Say that's three things because I put B in there, right? But I say duplication and and be polite. And none of them haven't really asked me why I always say that before I put the phone down. But I just think that things are like that. People might talk about all these things to do with witchcraft and obia and all these kind of things, but these things are natural to the human body. Yeah? And the reason why I say this, because a lot of us, when you talk about today as manipulation, back in the day, they might not say manipulate, you manipulated somebody. They will call it witchcraft. Yeah? They might not say you programmed somebody. Like, if you put the TV back into the 18th century, brought it into the 18th century, you most probably get killed for that. But that same TV, someone went into nature and took these things out of nature and came out and then brought and made the TV. But that TV can make an individual feel worthless about themselves. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying to you, people might be talking about people, i.e. obeying other people, but sometimes you can obey yourself. So what I'm saying to you in a nutshell, there's things that you can do to get out of things, but we just kind of need to understand our history and where we come from and stop thinking that things that we had in ancient times was evil. Because there's polarities of everything. You got a good and bad. You know, a lot of people, when you grow up, you have to know bad in order to know good.
No good. It's true. It's very true.
That's experience.
That's true.
You know knowledge and less experience.
That's very true. It's very true. Okay, Sister Anne, I just want to bring this because we got someone's trying to phone in as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's really good to have you on the line, and we definitely like you to encourage you to phone in and make those contributions because we're trying to build up a network. You know what I mean? Consistent networking and get the momentum going. You know, the whole thing about well-being and mental health and etc. See, so give thanks again. Yeah.
Yeah, and thanks to you guys as well, and I'll be in touch with regards to the other stuff. So yeah, it's brilliant. So thank you guys. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay then.
Pleasure
Bye.
talking to you.
Okay then. That was the beautiful Sister Anne. We asked someone to phone in as well. She's probably trying to phone and she couldn't get through, but please phone. Yeah.
People that want to step into their greatness are hungry. You gotta be hungry. You gotta be hungry. What is your legacy? What will your statement be? Resolve every day, read it every day. I refuse to die an unlived life. I like to leave this with you that Mama used to love to hear me say. She'd say, boy, say that thing for me, and I dedicate this to you, to the greatness that's within you, because it's there. If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for, to to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and sleep for it. If all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, and if you gladly sweat for it and fret for it and plan for it, and lose all your terror of the opposition for it, and if you simply go after that thing that you want with all of your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity. If neither cold poverty, famine, should go, sickness or pain of body and brain can keep you away from the thing that you want. If dogged and grim you besiege and beset it, with the help of God you'll get it. You have greatness in you. You have greatness. You gotta be hungry. You gotta be hungry. People that want to step into their greatness are hungry. You gotta be hungry. You gotta be hungry. To give up your time, your peace, and sleep for it. If all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, and if you gladly sweat for it and fret for it and plan for it, and lose all your terror of the opposition for it, and if you simply go after that thing that you want with all of your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity. If neither cold poverty, famine, should go, sickness or pain of body and brain can keep you away from the thing that you want. If dogged and grim you besiege and beset it, with the help of God you'll get it.
How you doing?
Yes, greetings, my sister. How you been? You're good?
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay then.
Yourself?
Sorry?
I said, and yourself, how you doing?
Yeah, we're good. We're good right now where we are. I was gonna say to you now. Let people know your name, please, if you don't mind.
Okay, it's Amaya.
Amaya. Okay, Amaya. Well, first of all, we want to go straight to the chase because I know you had a fantastic event last week. You know,
Yes, yes.
to let people know how it went for us, please.
Okay, it went absolutely fabulous. We had amazing feedback from everybody that attended. They were impressed by the speakers that we had and the therapists that were working tirelessly from the opening of the event to the closing of the event.
Right.
We had signs from the ancestors to say that, you know, that we are all blessed and we are all supported. So it was absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
All of the vendors, some of the vendors, it was the first time that they were actually out in the public to show the public exactly what their talents were, and they were really appreciative of the opportunity to actually showcase their products and services. So
Oh,
it went really well.
okay then. And it was mind, body, and spirit, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
People were asking when is the next one going to be, that they felt that they were really informed with the subject matters that we covered.
hmm
Um, and
okay.
yeah,
Okay then. Well, I'm glad to see you give us some feedback because as if we need to encourage people to at least to attend and because the event we was at on that day there. It's just with Auntie Jean that went very well. You know, thoroughly enjoyed that. But
oh, brilliant.
yeah, but just to bring up to speed in terms of because today we've been talking. Well, to be honest with you, the last probably few months now, we've been talking a lot of stuff around well-being and especially around mental health and all that stuff there, yeah.
Yeah,
And we feel that something we need to be talking about, every week because you know, we're all going through some stuff, you know,
Yeah, definitely.
and you know, we need to be talking, and talking all about therapy as well. And I myself am involved with an organisation called Memory Voice, and basically it's about men just come together and just talking. Yeah, and we
Yeah, that's
want,
very important because men don't like to speak
yeah, men,
about.
yeah, that's right. Men don't talk. Well, like women tend to talk among their girlfriends, their friends, and even among strangers. Where men, they talk to all it done. You know, nothing wrong with you, man. Just man up and
Yeah,
down and kind of rubbish talk there. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
thing, you know. But I just want to get your spin on the whole thing about mental health and you know depression and all that kind of stuff there because there's a lot of ignorance and stigma around that. I'm just bearing in mind we do have Tamra who you've met before. We have to
Yeah,
Wadada.
greetings,
Yeah,
Tara.
yeah. So you know, just give us a little spin, and they probably want to join in as well and have a rap with you as well. So give a little spin. How you see the whole thing about this mental health and yeah, and all this stuff here.
Well, I would say that on a spiritual level, going through mental health issues is something that a lot of us are, like you said, going through at the moment because there's a lot of things that are squeezing us and trying to break us.
Mm,
But what I find is that, you know, with what you guys are doing, with what the community is trying to achieve at the moment is to highlight and bring to the forefront um, the mental health issues because a lot of the time we've had, you know, when you grew up, it was like what happens in the house stays in the house. You don't let anybody know. You know, when you're going through issues, you always, if someone says, "How are you doing?" you always say you're fine,
you're
even though
fine. Yeah,
you
yeah,
might
yeah.
actually need to speak to someone about what you're going through. And I think it's really important that we create spaces and groups that have non-judgmental, confidential, safe place to speak
Mm,
about what's really going on, like, you know, personally in our um, health and mental health issues.
mm,
Because what I find is that within the NHS, they have a very different approach to people of color than other races. And it's important that we ourselves create spaces for us to speak and to help and support each other because we do have solidarity. Everyone goes through mental health issues at some point in their lives, and it's important to address it
mm.
and support it in the most compassionate way.
Well, let me just jump in here because we all got mental health. Because there's mental health, there's physical health, there's spiritual health, right? You wouldn't be, you know, well, to me, you wouldn't be human if you never
True.
cry, sad, laugh, and you know, go through certain emotions, you know. But the challenge is, right, that when you're in that state for weeks, months, in up to a year, right, that is a challenge. So you do need tools. You need someone to actually take you out of that in that state, you know, so to speak. And that's why talking therapy, counseling, or whatever the case may be. And sometimes you just can't go to anybody. You need someone you can have a rapport with or whatever to
Yeah,
take
definitely.
you out to that kind of state, you know, because being this kind of barbaric environment, you know, it's madness. It's mental health torture, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know,
It,
I was just saying. Sorry, Sims, I was just saying to Tamra and to Wadada that there was something on WhatsApp where imagine this mother bearing one a son them, and the other boy that come and stab the other brother in the funeral, you know, right? Stab him to death, right? So that's two of a boy of them, she have to deal with no. And the other one, that was gonna happen to him. But you know, I mean, that is mental health. That is madness. That is just off key. You know what I mean? Just off. But I mean, these are the kind of things what's happening on a regular. I mean, Tamara explained to me that that the other day, where a youth, and Tamara will probably tell us this, tell us where a youth, you know, got stabbed and he was running for help, and nobody want help him.
Oh no, I saw that. I saw that recently. That was so awful. I just don't understand why people don't. I mean, I do understand why people won't want to help because they fear for their own safety. But
You can't blame them because if you try to help some, then people just come and attack you and whatever. You know, so we live in a kind of very fearful. But then, you know, I don't know what to say, you know what I mean? Because we talk about having an army. We need an army to protect our own people and protect. I mean, it's just man. Tamara, I know you want to jump in.
Yes, I've been listening, and I know for a fact. Well, you touched on it in the first place that we tend to. It's with us. We're it, and we are spirits, and people forget that. And we have been ostracized from our spiritual being through TVs and other sorts of and all sorts of false education and all sorts of things. And we spoke about education, and we need to be re-educated into spirituality. We heard our brother Wadada there talking about telling his sons, was it love and duplication and be polite. Being polite is a spiritual trait, is a spiritual expression. You know, a lot of people, when we talk about love and unity, they really don't know what it means. We have to explain to them. We have to teach them what love is. It's unconditional. It has no color. You know, love is honest. You know, love is compassionate. You know, love is merciful. Love is forgiving. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is meek. Love is humble. You know, love is pure and clean. Love is faithful. You know, all these sort of things, you know, we need to, we need to re-educate ourselves in spirituality. You know, I myself, I have no qualms in saying we need to be one with our Creator. You know, the great spirit of all spirits. You know, Mother and Father, Creator. You know, yes, we need to connect, and that also involves nature as well. Because when we connect with nature, with the sea, with the air, with the birds, with the winds, with with the waters, with the earth, and so on, we are connecting with that great spirit of life itself. We need to reconnect with that, because all the other stuff that we do, they will help us along the way, but once we're disconnected from the source of all life, we've got no chance. We'll be going around and around the same vicious circle over and over again. We have to break the cycle. We have to return to God Almighty, because this is what this is all about. We have to return to the creative power, and source and energy and creative activity of all life itself, and that's where we're at, because we are eternal beings. We are, we look solid, but really and truly, we are eternal beings. We're made from an energy that has no beginning and has no end. That's why it says in the Bible and all that, without beginning and without end. Well, that's where we're coming from. And we've limited ourselves to all these worldly things, money and jewelry and car and fornicating and all that sort of thing, or sleeping around and loose living and lying and cheating and thinking that is the way forward. And now it's gone to murder now, because now to have street cred as a youth involves murdering someone. And God only knows, did that young man, that young boy that they murdered, did he murder somebody? Was this a retaliation for a murder that he committed, or some very violent act that he committed? I'm not saying that he deserved that because he murdered someone else either. because this is how we perpetuate the situation, we solidify it, we ensure that it goes on and on and on and on. So there comes a time we have to say, peace, that's enough. If this isn't working, let's make peace. We're not going to retaliate. We're going to, we're just going to not retaliate, and take it from there. That's the first step, But this is what our young boys need to be doing. They've got to stop retaliating against one another and live in this solution and start talking about reconciliation, and forgiveness, and start living in the light, living in the love. Basically, that's where we need to go.
Yes.
We do have some amazing groups that are working with young people, like the Manhood Academy, who are really doing some great work with our young men, and they've got the Womanhood Academy for the young females. So we have got people that are working on the grassroots level, trying to encourage and show the young people that, this is how you respect each other. This is how you value each other. This is how we become like the community that we were destined to be. And it's important to, encourage these groups and support these groups in order for us to really build this movement where, our young people look at each other as if they were siblings, and not like, oh, you're from this end, or you're this postcode, I'm wearing this color, or whatever the excuse or reason they're using to harm each other. So we need to, really big up these groups and try to get our young people in them so that we can start being the elders, that we've had in the past, to help them along and guide them.
Okay then. Wadada, you want to say anything?
Oh, you don't said it. You said it all anyway.
Speak in the mic, madam, please. No, just speak in the mic.
No, I know. I'm just saying that you've said it all. It's very important, and that's it. Yeah.
So
we've also got to be very honest, like even as parents, we've got to start being honest about how we are now approaching the efforts of parenting, because I think sometimes, some parents are quite oblivious to what their children are doing.
You mean they're dishonest towards what their children?
They reward them for like bad behavior, because sometimes they're not in, two-parent households, or they're a parent having to be a single parent, and so they feel they need to overcompensate for the missing parent, or they want their child to be a certain way. But we've really got to be honest with ourselves and understand that we've really got to be straightforward with our children.
Yes, Sister Maya. You said it, honesty. We can't be restored to sanity without honesty. And there's honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness to do the right thing so the right thing happens. But honesty is the key in this thing here. We cannot be restored to sanity without it.
Go on.
Yeah. I was gonna say, because I don't really know what the system of when in the schools is like today, but a lot of the stuff that I kind of hear about on the social media, I don't really need to break it down to any of you, because, I think that, schools are dangerous, man. Sometimes it's like, I'm not saying that you can't blame some of the parents, yeah, but back in the day where our parents was, like, it was serious with us, man. They play around, we get a tanning. But it's like all that kind of thing has been taken out of the parents' hands, and it's not as if the children, it's like, it's not even your children no more. From since you go and you put up on the birth certificate, it's not your child. You chastise your child, they'll take it away.
But the thing is,
So it's like slavery again.
brother, what I would say to you is that, back in the day, if you really look at how you were disciplined, that was abuse. That was abuse.
Yes,
Like,
I'd like to say
I'm
something.
saying is that if you just like for the adults that we were speaking about regarding mental health, that we need to provide a space that's safe, non-judgmental, confidential for you to speak honestly about what you're going through on a mental health basis or premise. And we need to do the same for the young people. The young people are not going to trust you if they feel like you're judging them and you're chastising them. Like, if they can approach you on an honest level and treat them like the young adults that they are, I think that also helps to alleviate them feeling like they need to belong to a gang, because as far as they're concerned, I could talk to my mum about this stuff, or I could talk to my dad about this stuff. I don't need to, like, I have a big grounding and foundation in who I am, because my parents have allowed me to be the person I'm growing into, and I was able to be honest. I know when I was growing up, I never told my mum a thing. The way that my mum found out about my life was by reading my diary.
Yeah.
But she never received that information from me, because I didn't feel that it was a safe environment. I didn't feel like she was going to be non-judgmental, or that it would be confidential.
Let me just jump in there quickly, right? So you said your mum, how your mum learned about you is by reading your diary.
Yes.
And what was the relationship when she read your diary? Now, I'd be interested. What was the relationship now? A bit more closer, or?
Well, unfortunately, my mum passed away in 2008, but we did have a chance to have an open dialogue with each other, where I could actually, and the thing is that it was a safe space that I created in my own home. And when my mum came to stay with me due to her issues, I was able to create a space where we can speak honestly about how our relationship deteriorated over the years, and how she felt I was as a child or young adult, or how I felt she was a parent to me. And so we were able to come to a happy medium, as it were, and repair our relationship before she passed away. So I do give thanks, and I'm appreciative of that opportunity. But I know that not many people are able to do that, because when you are being honest about how you felt your parent has been with you, that they get instantly defensive and think that you're criticizing them.
That's very true.
And they knock you down, and they give you that look, and then you just you keep quiet because you don't want to hurt their feelings. And but if you can just there are ways that we can create these spaces.
But let me just jump in there, because what was the relationship between your mum and your so-called your grandma, her mum rather? What was the relationship like between those two? Could I be interested to understand?
Yes. Yeah. So, one of the things that came out when I had the discussion with my mum is that I understood that she didn't have a mum. She didn't have a mum. She had more a relationship with her grandmother.
Right.
Her mum, nobody knows what happened to her. People were saying that she ran away, but nobody knows where she was from or anything. So my mum had a relationship with her grandmother, and that is really what her benchmark for being a mother was from. And my mum's grandmother was from Haiti, so they had a very different type of way of bringing up children.
Okay.
So
Okay then.
I understood that, and and that's also the thing. Like, people perpetuate cycles. Do you get what I mean? They, because of the way they were brought up, they then do that to their children, and inevitably the children do it to their children, and so forth. But the thing is that we need to start breaking those cycles, because it doesn't build or encourage truth to be told. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah. I just want to jump in here, and I know Tamara is going to want to come in as well. That it's interesting, the the relationship you have with your mum, and relationship with your mum and your grandma is quite interesting, because a lot of it stems from the relationship you have with your parents, And what I would say is this, in terms of looking at my people there, because they're very in their late 80s now, that
Brilliant.
for me to understand my mother, I had to, when I was in Jamaica, you get to understand where a lot of things, where she's coming from and so forth. Because what I would say is this, right? That even though, they have their shortcomings like all of us do, right? But what I would say is that they were sincere. In my case, with my parents' case, they were sincere. And at times, right, all I wanted was to do the best for the next, for the children, right?
Yeah.
And and obviously I would say that I don't know what that would agree with me, or even Tamara. They just didn't really understand the system, so to speak, But what I would say, in defense, what I know, I'm talking about my parents and people, they were sincere in terms of what they want the best for their children and so forth. Tamara, you want to jump in?
Yes, I'd like to say yes. I've been listening here, and I appreciate what you said about you had no sort of communication, honest communication with your mother, and if you were afraid of that. And I experienced the same thing as a child. I was violently abused every day. I didn't want to go home from school like most children did. I was frightened of the place. It was a house of horror. It was full of beatings, and the most savage beatings I could imagine could happen to a child. Honest to God. And I was just 7 years of age. I don't know what I'd done wrong. You sent for me over here to England, and you start beating me up and start treating me like a slave as well. So I was cheap labor and also a slave in the house. And I nearly died once in school because I couldn't tell my parents that I'm feeling unwell. And it was the teacher who said, "You're not well." And they said they just about saved me because my temperature was so high, I was on the point of turning into brown bread, and so I know also there's a history of many children who've been abused in houses so violently that they've died. And not only children, but also mothers as well. And no one could say anything. Everyone used to keep everything quiet, And so mothers died, children died. A lot of children ran away from home, which was something every day I fantasized about doing, but I had nowhere to run to, and so on. So for me, I welcomed when the government said no more beating your children, because I thought, thank God, because I was even too afraid to go to the police and tell them anything. I was encouraged by my grandma, go and tell the police, but I wouldn't go to the police because it was that bad. Honest to God, you just don't know. So really, but unfortunately, it turned the other way, where you've got a lot of children now who lack any form of discipline whatsoever. It's okay to smack your child. Say, look, I told you once, I told you twice, and you still gone back and do it again. Here's a smacking. You get the smacking. But when you beat children for nothing, for no reason, every day you just get into a mood, into a temper, and the demon overtakes, and you just start to, treat them in a most wicked manner, which would make a slave master look like a, like your brother, or to say, it's.
But something, right, Tamara, that you probably find that those who abuse their children, right? They themselves have been abused.
No.
No, in some cases they've been
Yes,
abused.
yes,
Yeah,
they have.
yeah,
But
yeah.
in my case, I discovered my father was a spoilt son. You know, he had everything. He was the prince of, Dominica. And my mother, she was a spoilt girl. She was the one and only child, and she was the princess and most beautiful and everything. She was absolutely spoiled. So to be treated like that from both my parents, it was a great shock and a big disappointment to me. You know, I lived in hell from the age of 7, and that's the way I describe it. I don't apologize about it. I've even mentioned it in my music because I feel it needs to be heard, because enough of this keeping things under the carpet and so on and so forth, because there's a lot of people that need to get well, and the only way we can get well is to let it out, to just tell it as it is or as it was and as it is now. You know, and that helped me to get well, as a matter of fact.
Go on. You want to say something about that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I understand. You know, because just going through it, it just kind of helped me to kind of look back even more. You know what I mean? Because I do remember that. My dad didn't really use to sort of like kind of, because I'm the youngest out of 10. It was six boys and 4 girls. And to be honest with you, I saw this film of Michael Jackson where they used to put all like high heel shoes on the top of the doors and shit, you know what I mean? And we used to do that, like put all cups of water on top of the door. When you come in, that's gonna go on your head, you know what I mean? So we used to do a lot of things. So, but I do understand when you're talking about the Oliver beating, but I think that those things is actually coming back when you kind of look. Because my father did say that I heard that he left home at the age of 12 because dad was beating him because he wanted to work him on the field. So you can understand where that come from. Still, so, but this discussion, I just think that. And, obviously, we were saying this all the time, that it's very important for us to get together and start talking about the things that we actually go through. Because I feel that the system don't have the answers for us. We have the answers for us.
True.
We got the keys and we got the answers. We got everything. We just don't realise it. We're rich, but we're not. Very powerful talk. I just really enjoyed this, Dougie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, okay then. So, my sister, is there any information, anything you want to share with us? Anything you want to bring to the table?
Well, sorry, what was the question?
No, is there anything else you want to share with us? Anything you want to add or, yeah?
I would like to share something.
Yes, feel free.
We have a Bwiti shaman from Gabon.
Wow.
Coming. A Bwiti shaman from Gabon coming over from West Africa, who is really excited about coming to give a talk to the community about different ways of coming together and really knowing who you are and helping to build a really honest and truthful and successful community again. Because in West Africa you have, or even in Africa full stop, like we have traditions where we get together and we speak honestly about what's going on in our community, and the Bwiti shaman will be coming to let us inform us basically of the techniques and the ways that their traditions that we can incorporate in our own lives. That's on Monday, next Monday at Lewisham Village, from 7 till 10, and I think that will be a perfect opportunity for all of us to gather around in a safe environment where we can discuss and be informed about how we can better build the infrastructure of our community, which is actually deteriorating at a really fast pace. And, you know, we're all in positions that we can really support this. So that's one of the things I'd like to share.
Okay.
And also, thank you guys so much for allowing me the platform to speak and share with you, you know, information that I hope resonates with your listeners and resonates with you and helps with the healing process.
Yeah, it's all about the healing process. Just to clarify, so next week Monday you mentioned the name. I'm not too sure. What do you mention will be here next week?
Sorry?
No, you said you have Shaman.
Yes, Sweetie Shaman from Gabon coming over.
Shaman. Okay, coming from where? From
Gabon. It's in West Africa.
West Africa. Okay then. All right then.
He'll be speaking about some amazing things that we really need to get to grips with if we're going to heal our community, honestly.
So what does he specialize? What's his area?
So he specializes in encouraging personal life. Like I'm losing my voice now. Sorry. So basically, he'll be discussing exploration of the dynamics of Iboga, which is a medicine plant that is indigenous to Gabon, and he will basically let us know how we can use these plant medicines in order to see each other as family, basically, and really delve into who we really are.
Okay, then, fair enough. All right, so is it Africa? So what's the address again? Is Lewisham Village?
Yeah, Lewisham Village, Unit 3, Lewisham Retail Park, Lone Pit Vale, SE13 7SN, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Okay, then. Do me a favor. Can you send it? Have you got my phone? My number. Can you send it as a text for me? Is that okay? And
I will do it. Yeah? Yes, I will do it. Thank you.
Okay, my sister, give thanks again, yeah?
Giving thanks always. I'll wish you all blessings and infinite abundance.
Bless
yes, sir.
Love.
More powers to you, yeah?
All
right.
Love, my sister. Okay, then. What a beautiful call from my very beautiful sister. And what we're going to do now, I'm going to play a track from...
Ereline. Ereline was my best friend, my cousin and girlfriend. I never ever had to pretend. We lived close together by the sea, on the beach of Lagon. I loved the beauty of her mind and skin, and her spirit deep within. That's my Ereline, childhood sweetheart and darling. So when I had to leave, I was sorely grieved as I held her hands that night on the stars and full moonlight. Although I was just a child, I felt like a man inside. I touched her intimately, enthralled by her beauty, knowing I'd soon be missing our touching, cuddling, and kissing. Although we were just children, we knew we were more than just friends, and that loving feeling would never end. Now all I'm left with is the loving memory and scent of her presence, now absent, and the sound of the waves that gently kissed the shore with that sinking feeling, knowing I'd be seeing her no more. With that sinking feeling, knowing I'd be seeing her no more. My heart was filled with much despair when I was summoned to L'Angleterre to reside with my parents, that was certain. Though powerless, I resisted till the final curtain. My elder said, "Son, don't you want to see the snow?" I, the little boy, spontaneously replied with an impertinent no. "Why?" they exclaimed, looking puzzled and hard. I, the little boy, replied, "I see the snow on Christmas cards." So with Mammy I went one day on a rowing boat to the big ship Genoa. So colossal it caused dismay. Venezuela was the first port of call as we cruised and sailed away. The sea was rough and filled me with fear. The food was not the same, oh dear. The next stop was Genoa, and from there a train to Rome. Then again we embarked on the big ship till we docked in England, our new home. Victoria, the underground, oh, it gave me such a fright. With windows that looked into darkness, as if day had turned to night. Where were the birds of color? The buildings, the clothes, so drab and gray. And when we entered our home in Hackney, there were no maids, to my dismay. I recall back home they said, "Go up far and wide, England Street paved with gold. For there your future is sunny and bright, though the winters are dark and cold." I may have been young and inexperienced, and yet I knew the other half had not been told. I repeat, I may have been young and inexperienced, and yet I knew the other half had not been told.
Pressures of a life and it tough. No stay down, mama, time pick it up. No bother with the down, full style, strictly up, full vibes. I pick it up when the bills, them, the rent and the mortgage due. Yeah, yeah. When me chalice, when your best friends are gone and it's only you. Yeah, like up a split, turn up the music. Skanking sweet, everybody wanna feel like free. Forget your troubles and the rock with me. You know feel a reggae music sweet, yeah, yeah. Skanking sweet, everybody wanna feel like free. Forget your troubles and the rock with me. You know feel a reggae music sweet, yeah, yeah. Skanking sweet, for every pain there's a melody, yeah. For every trouble there's a harmony that brings everything together. So make we sing together. And who say life no order, and every man got this know feel a reggae music sweet. Skank. Everybody wanna feel like real. Like troubles in the rock way. You know feel a reggae music sweet. So skanking. Everybody wanna feel like real. Forget the troubles in the rock with me. Skanking. Feel a reggae music sweet. Everybody was skanking sweet. Everybody was skanking sweet. Body was skanking sweet. Daddy was skanking sweet. Yeah, I'm gonna be skanking. I wanna be skanking. Gonna be skanking. Gonna be skanking.
Whoa, that is Wadada in full food flow. Food flow. Powerful, powerful, powerful.
Shut a beat that a youth can't sleep. And then you talk about Jamaican night. You say you're living in a paradise. But what they whistle like a Christmas breeze. Yeah, you better take my foolish advice. Even though Jamaican night, wanna live to save your life. After the sunset comes the darkness of the night. You better open up your eyes and read between the lines. When you're living in the ghetto paradise. Survivor, only the fittest shall make it out of this jungle alive. Survivor, Jah is my witness. The darkest hours of the night, just before daylight. Even though you made it night, you gotta live to save your life. After the sunset comes the darkness of the night. You better open up your eyes. Gotta read between the lines. Living in the ghetto paradise. Living in the ghetto. Ghetto paradise. Living in the ghetto paradise. Oh, ghetto paradise. No, living in the ghetto paradise. Ghetto paradise. Living in the ghetto, yeah. Country boy came to town. Oh, country boy came to town. Him left country and never went back. Him come a town, come a lick peer shot. Carry the 16 over him back. 45, him never left a crack. No must see him super cat did a chat. Side police on the wheel and clap. No left no trace, conceal all tracks. Him cousin him a hold the dirt and tell himself to wear that car in a minute. Now you have to shift up like a gearbox, then give him a Glock. Tell himself to lock it. Don't fear for knocking country, I hear sneer that. Without no warning, early in the morning, country and the eagle pitch down like a garland. And when him pass a black flag and chop all in. Anyway you see him, tell him me call him. Me no want all the dirt and diamond socks. Country boy say him not take no tat and him a real rude boy from Kingston. Real rude boy from Kingston. Run the place, no turning back. Fire him a burn it, I go burn him back. Boy, him a real rude boy from Kingston. Real rude boy. Country boy, take to town. Country boy, came to town. Town. Mama day a country, I work like mule. And you tell her, say you want go school. Promising the boy, so she never hesitate. Now you a come a town and you want farm full. Why what you do with your ambition? Run come a town, want done gunman. Go on like you want run program. Have you ever seen a gunman with house and land? Listen to me keen. Police a come fi come discipline the scheme. All your cousin will give you Glock fi keep. Sergeant a have something where whistling fi keep. Love your life, never throw it down the drain. If you see your cousin down the lane, tell him chronics had something to say. You know all the diamond stocks. Country boy say not that, not that, and him a real rude. Say him a real rude boy, real rude boy from Kingston. Run the place, no turning back. Fire him a burn it, I go burn him back. But him a real rude boy from Kingston. Real rude boy, real rude boy, real rude boy, real rude boy, yeah, real rude boy. Go in peace and sin no more, even though no single one punished for sure.
I said depression. When depression came, I didn't see. The past in my life had caught up with me. The violent abuse I suffered as a child. My uni education that had been denied. So many things I'd suppressed inside. With nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. In a pitch black tunnel with no light in sight. Depression came like a thief in the night. Don't know if it came from the left or the right. But in denial, I put up a fight. With coke and alcohol abuse to make things right. My appetite for business and money was gone. Life became devoid of fun. A good woman was needed, but I couldn't find none. My chances were 1,000,000,000,000. As suicidal thoughts came along, it took much more than just being strong against a thing so forceful, not so easy to overcome. Alcohol and cocaine, they were the enemy and not my friends. But way back.
No.
Oh, well, you want it on? Well, if you want it on,
Yeah,
then
play it. I'll just play half of it.
Depression. I said depression. When depression came, I didn't see the past in my life had caught up with me. The violent abuse I depression.
Yeah, oh, it's on now. It's, yeah.
I said depression.
When depression came, I didn't see
The
past in my life had caught up with me. The violent abuse I suffered as a no, it's not.
My uni education that had been denied. So many things I'd
When I'm
suppressed
talking,
inside.
I'm not saying it in
Nowhere
exactly
to
the
run
same way as on the
and nowhere to
record.
hide.
So maybe it's best we just do it.
With no
We just
light
do it without the
inside.
music.
Depression came like a thief in the night. Don't know if it came from the left or the right. But in the
I'll say depression and then you come in. Oh no, you start. You say something, then I'll go depression and then depression. I said depression. When depression came, I didn't see the past in my life had caught up with me. The violent abuse I suffered as a child, my uni education that had been denied, so many things I'd suppressed inside, with nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. In a pitch black tunnel, with no light in sight, depression came like a thief in the night. Don't know if it came from the left or the right, but in denial I put up a fight with coke and alcohol abuse to make things right. My appetite for business and money was gone. Life became devoid of fun. A good woman was needed, but I couldn't find none. My chances were 1,000,000,000,000 to 1. As suicidal thoughts came along, it took more than just to be strong against a thing so forceful, not so easy to overcome. Alcohol and cocaine, they were the enemy, not my friends. But way back then I didn't comprehend, as they anesthetized the pain, anger, and torment, to forget the years of betrayal from family and friends. Men and women who came for financial gain. Burglaries I suffered again and again. Committing murder appeared to be justified after the way that I'd been crucified. But only God could have kept me off that path, 'cause only God could abate my wrath. I said, because only God could abate my wrath. Blessed love. That one's called Depression. Thank you, the great Wadada, saxophonist. And thank you, Mr. King DJ, Dougie.
When depression came, I didn't see the past in my life had caught up with me. The violent abuse I suffered as a child, My uni education that had been denied. So many things I'd suppressed inside. With nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. In a pitch black tunnel with no light in sight. Depression came like a thief in the night. Don't know if it came from the left or the right. But in denial, I put up a fight. With coke and alcohol abuse to make things right. My appetite for business and money was gone. Life became devoid of fun. A good woman was needed, but I couldn't find none. My chances were 1,000,000,000,000 to 1. As suicidal thoughts came along, it took much more than just being strong against a thing so forceful, not so easy to overcome. Alcohol and cocaine, they were the enemy and not my friends. But way back then, I didn't comprehend, as they anesthetized the pain, anger and torment. To forget the years of betrayal from family and friends, and women who came for financial gain. Massive burglaries I suffered again and again, feeling like an outcast with 1,000,000 friends. Committing murder appeared to be justified after the way that I'd been crucified, but somehow God kept me off that path, because only God could abate my wrath.
Okay then. So we had the great man just freestyling Wadada and Tamara, just a jam and a freestyle. But we are coming something next time. We are coming some improvements. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So we should have one little play thing. You know, so people get the flavor of the master talent we have inside. You know, and don't forget when the man bust. You know, don't remember it's the first time you're in a man a jam. You know, and in about 20 years time when you hear about Wadada, our part of the world, and you hear about Tamara, other part of the world. Don't forget, man. Remember where them start from. See, this little place here where we are reason, some consciousness, and we are freestyle, and free up ourselves. See, you know, so we can't stop play this youth here, you know. Chronics. I want serious about you. Chronics. Rate him.
Skanking, grooving, hallelujah. Skanking, grooving, hey, me jaja, yeah. Skanking, grooving, under pressure, yeah. Skanking, grooving, under the pressures of a life and it tough. No stay down, mama, time pick it up. No bother with the down, full style, strictly up, full vibes. I pick it up when the bills, them, the rent and the mortgage due. Yeah. When me chalice, when your best friends are gone and it's only you. Yeah. Like up a split, turn up the music. Skanking sweet, everybody wanna feel like free. Forget your troubles and the rock with me. You know feel a reggae music sweet, yeah, yeah. Skanking sweet, everybody wanna feel like free. Forget your troubles and the rock with me. You know feel a reggae music sweet, yeah, yeah. Skanking sweet, for every pain there's a melody, yeah. For every trouble there's a harmony that brings everything together. So make we sing together. And who say life no order? And every man got their struggle. I beg you to help me, Lord, and let me overcome my troubles. Skanking sweet, everybody wanna feel like free. Forget your troubles and rock with me. You know feel a reggae music sweet, yeah, yeah. Skanking sweet, everybody wanna feel like free. Forget skank. Everybody wanna feel irate. Forget the troubles in the wrong way. You know feel a reggae music sweet. Yeah, skanking sweet. So skanking. Everybody wanna feel irate. Forget the troubles in the wrong way. Skanking. Feel a reggae music sweet. Yeah, body skanking sweet. Everybody was skanking sweet. Body skanking sweet. Daddy body skanking sweet. Yeah, I'm gonna be skanking. I wanna be skanking. I'm gonna be skanking. I'm gonna be skanking. Oh.
Great man, Chronics. See? All right, then. We got about less than 5 minutes left. And what I'm going to do here is just ask Tamara how he's feeling. See? And let people know about his, the work, the foundation work. So, Tamara, take us away. And got less than 5 minutes left, yeah?
Yes, well, I'm feeling level, balanced. I'm feeling happy, good to be here, grateful to be here, breathing, got the health to walk up and down, and so forth. I give thanks and praise, and we're from Rehab to Life Foundation, which is here to steer our community, and particularly the young, steering them away from drug and alcohol addiction, violence and crime. And we need your help in that process. We need you to tune into our website, From Rehab to Life Foundation, from rehabtolife.com. And we'd love your donations. If you could donate anything towards our cause, because we need to hold a lot of workshops and get into a lot of schools and universities, colleges, rehab centers, public venues and so on, and into the homes and into the workplaces as well. So we need your support, we need your ideas, we need you to share ideas in the solution to put into action, because it's not just talk alone, it's about putting it into action. So please visit our website from rehabtolife.com and support us any way you can. Maybe you can just volunteer a day or half a day to do some fundraising with us, or just to help out on administration, or help out in some other way, counseling, nutrition, whatever way, exercise, such as yoga or anything like that. We need your support. We need the community, to work with us so that we can heal our community. Thank you again for listening. The Most High be with everyone. With love, light, healing.
Wadada, just express how you find being here, man. It was a pleasure to have you in the house, man.
Yeah, it was powerful, man. I really do enjoy talking about, the solutions to the problems that we have. It's really touching, and I know that, we can sort of like kind of really, go forward by doing the works on our own people, So, let's just come together and try and work out and make things right for ourselves, you know what I'm saying? Because only we can do it, Because only we can do it. Yeah, one love, Voltec.
Okay, then, so I want to give thanks and praise to the Most High. I don't want to Jammers. Jammers, he must be, that brother works hard. He must be working tonight, or he's just resting up, because that man works right around the clock. I was about to say the club, around the clock, because he's probably if he's not resting up or he's corpse, he must be playing out tonight. So, Jammers, we thoroughly miss your presence, you know. So you're a warrior. So again, I want to big up to the to Tamara and Wadada, Strictly, you know, those individuals there, them man there, them are, don't know words were superstar because they don't like for me to use them words there, but them man there, my key bedroom them, and them are going some big things, and it's good to have them in the house. Just as man and man, just a reason and a talk and just full jar with self, you know. Man with special talents, as you can see, Wadada express himself the sax. Tamara, spoken word singer, is an actor, you know, presenter, you know, he's everything, you know what I mean. Also, he's a health man because he has some health products himself as well. But next time when he come, he must let people know about the health products him do, you know. And in fact, him and Wadada have something in common. I know Wadada is a health man too, you know, on a serious level. All right then, I'm gonna leave that with Chronic.
Real rude boy, country boy, came to town. Country boy, came to town. Woman, they are country, I work like mule. And you tell her, say you want go school. Promising the boy, so she never hesitate. Now you are come a town and you want farm full. Why what you do with your ambition? Run come a town, want done gunman. Go on like you want run program. Have you ever seen a gunman without and listen to me keen. Police are come discipline the scheme. All your cousin will give you Glock for keep. Sergeant have something where whistling for keep. Love your life, never throw it down the drain. If you see your cousin down the lane, tell him Chronic's had something to say. You know all that diamond slap. Country boy, same now, take no thought and him a real same reason. Stop worrying, real boy, Kingston. Run the place, no turning back. Fire him a burn it and go burn him back. But him a real boy, real boy, real boy, real boy, yeah, real boy. Go in peace and sin no more, even though no single one punished for sure. Go in peace and sin no more, even though no single one punished for sure. Oh, country boy.